Afternoon boaters, Keith McGowan here, the Outboard Dad. Here to break this loose.
You know, I have a 02 F350.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dually long bed. It's a big truck. My wife doesn't let us have that at the house either.
No?
No. Down the farm.
So I have a 2023 Nissan Frontier.
Yeah.
But thinking about it now, I thought it through more, I'd have found an old late 80s, early 90s F-150 and fix it up, because it's going to last longer than that thing is.
OBS, like the 97 era, they sell for big money, man. They get the,
So
ours has a 7.3 in it, so it's like the good motor in ours.
that's nice.
Yeah.
I had a 85 F-150 when I was in my 20s with the straight six, 300 cubic inch straight six. That thing was awesome. They had problems with the transmission. It was a manual, and it would, it would, like if you tried to go in first gear, it was kind of a creeper gear anyway, but it was very hard to get it back out. The way the forks, they would bind up on you. Other than that, that truck would have kept going. If I was to do it, if I'm to do it again, that's what I'm going to do, is find one of those, and because you can rebuild that sucker forever.
And they're cheap.
Yeah.
That's the 7.3. I mean, like I said, it's at a place getting some work done, so it's fairly reasonable.
It's hanging up a little bit. I'm going to clean it off. Grease is good, but it gets really thick sometimes. Need a bigger shop. So the guy, when the guy built this place for me, I said, all right, what else are you telling me that I should do, that you hear people say? He says, the only complaint we get is, I wish I would have built it bigger.
I believe it. Now, do you typically like install them like this or no?
What's that?
Like the motors? Like people like how are we doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I always work something out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to leave people hanging, but a lot of guys just come with a pickup truck. I put it in the back of the pickup truck and they go.
All right.
But you know, try to work something out to be helpful. Not everybody has the abilities to do all that. The time is the biggest thing, right? So if I can somehow get this working or get enough parts off of it to cover the time that I'm spending today
Right.
is kind of the goal, you know. So you want to just push this forward for me? I got to go up a little higher. All right, try and push it in. Yeah, I got to, I'm thinking I'm going to have to get a battery on it to get the tilt and trim
I gotcha.
set up. Let's see. So let's see what your fuel looks like. He's got a really good fuel water separator on here so you can see it.
So we thought that was the issue. We were like trying, it was like process of elimination. My father-in-law came over and helped him. They did the separator. They found a little fuel line leak. So
Okay.
Some fuel line.
It was all dry rotted, so we did that. The water separator.
We were hoping it was going to be that.
Not so easy, huh? So we'll let this sit and see what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to put a little silicone around the bolts just to keep the transom from getting any moisture in, any more moisture into it. You know. So see how this is starting to corrode here. So when you get home, you might want to see how there's a hole here rotted out.
Yeah.
So if I stick my screwdriver in there, it's soft, right? So it's a little silicone someone already put in there. This is where you want to keep moisture from getting down in here. So any caulking you can do around this,
Yeah.
the slower the rot, you know, of the transom. It's all wood in there.
Yeah.
You know, inevitably it's going to happen, but you want to make it last as long as you can.
Right.
Used to be more, but you know, the two strokes don't have the value that they used to. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing a video on the comparison because the other one there is a 4-stroke.
Up top.
Yep. So that one has milky oil in it, which is a common problem. I'm going to put some silicone on some other spots here that I see. That's a common problem with 4-strokes, especially the Suzuki's. So I'm doing kind of a comparison video of, is it worth it to rebuild? Because it's a whole lot more work to rebuild that 4-stroke than it is the 2-strokes. They're a lot simpler.
Yeah. And you get them, that's something you don't trade or you went out and got?
I bought it.
I gotcha.
I keep an eye out, you know. And I'm just honest with the guys. You know, there's $1,000 worth of parts here. I'm like, yeah, $1,000 worth of parts, and then I get paid for what?
Right.
My time of taking it apart and make $1,000 back for the experience, you know. But I'm just honest with them, and then, you know, then it sits for a while.
Yep.
So that one sat for a little while, and, you know, the guy got back to me and said, you still want this, you know? I think it was like $600. And I said, I'll offer you $300 for it. You know, he says, well, I want an extra $50 because it had a stainless steel prop. Don't let me forget to take that prop off. So I said, all right, that's fair enough because it was really clean prop on it.
Right.
Then I got down to pick it up and the motor was locked up. And I said, you said you had milky oil. You didn't say the motor was locked up.
Yeah.
So, you know, either I'm just going to go home or we'll work something out, you know. So we worked it out. They don't last. My longest lasting batteries have been the Deca batteries. Still have the battery cable hooked up to this one for a little while so it doesn't get mixed up. You want a pair of gloves?
Yeah, you got 'em.
Yep. They might be a little small. I like buying them small and then stretching them out. And you know what? If it's too much of a hassle, if you have to pull it out or something, I'll just use another set of cables just to start it. If that's easier, because
Yeah, 'cause
if you got a mess there, don't go crazy.
I don't want to like, and then something else not work.
Yeah. No, I just thought of that. I'll just hook up the cable. I should have left the cables on, but I'm not that smart. All right. So you always want to buy the marine grease for this?
We actually did last year. We just never used it. Like we bought the marine grease and like the small little things with like the small gun.
Yep. That's all you need. The more things that you keep greased up, the less corrosion you have, the longer it lasts. You gotta have different stages of rags too.
Yep.
Let me make sure I have my VRO disconnected.
Like what do you got? Plug that?
So it's just this right here. So this is already plugged.
Okay.
I'm just going to put the clamp that came off the other one on it. And then it's just going to unplug it here from the harness. It's very high tech. I'm a professional.
I like to bolt through it.
You like that? So I had a guy came to me, he had an 80, I think it was like an 89, 150 horse, and I had a used 150 horse for sale. And he brought it here. Actually, that's the block. That's his block right there. It's three bad cylinders, and he had already paid somebody over $2,500 for repairs. And I'm like, and they didn't do a compression check for you? So he had VRO on it, and I'm like, you can keep, yeah, I want to keep using it. I'm like, okay. Well, by the time he came to pick the motor up, he said, how about we take that off?
Yeah.
I'll mix it in the tank.
So my father-in-law, he was talking about earlier, he took his boat the same guy we had this boat at.
Okay,
He took that boat there to get that done.
okay.
He just bought that other one. It's in the driveway. Yeah, he just bought that. About a year ago, I guess. Yeah. Probably about the same time you bought this one.
Can I ask how much you paid for this?
This one, $2,900.
Okay. So I had a guy here you can watch. I don't know if you saw the free boat evaluation I did video. So I did 2 of them the past 2 weeks. Guy had a winner, I think is what it was. 87. Similar to this, I think it's a 19-foot, more of a deck on the front than seats,
Yeah.
more flat. Had the trolling motor on it with the foot pedal.
Yeah.
He had 3 batteries. He had 2 starting batteries, 1 deep cycle battery. Everything worked. Now, we didn't test the trolling motor, but everything else worked.
Yeah.
He had low compression on 1 cylinder. He got the boat for free. He had a little low. It was like, I was like 110, 110, 110, and like 95. And you don't want to be more than 10%.
I gotcha.
And I'm like, you're right there. I said, I would just run it.
Yeah.
Little extra oil.
Yeah.
You know, if you hear it start making noise, don't fly home.
Yeah.
Just baby it, you know, because you'll get out on the water,
Yeah.
you know. So I had next guy came last weekend with a Bayliner. You know those boats?
Yeah.
It's a 80 something with a force outboard on it. And I was like, how far you want to go with this, dude? You know, I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to make you feel bad, but